This video is going to show you how to use StatCrunch to do simple linear regression. I'm going to have two different examples. This is going to be a little backwards from how the text would like you to do it, but the reality is we're going to use technology to be efficient here. So let's just do it. Stat, as always, look for regression, simple linear, x variable. So I'm going to select this first x because that's the first one I have is x. Y will be the first y. And I'm not going to mess around with anything else here. I'm just going down to the bottom. You can't see it, but I'm going to hit the compute. And it's going to throw a bunch of stuff up on the screen. And first and foremost, what they would like you to do is to calculate the correlation. So by doing it this way, I calculated correlation and I also did regression and came up with my equation. But let's talk about the correlation for a second. 0.95 is pretty big. My sample size is 8. There's 8 values here, 8 data points. So I'm going to click on this table. I'm going to go down to a sample size of 8. And we're going to test to see if the Pearson correlation coefficient R is high enough. Let me bring this up so you can see it. We're testing H0 rho is equal to 0. So if we fail to reject, we're saying the correlation may as well be 0, so there isn't any, or not much. If we reject, we're saying the correlation is not equal to 0, and it's worth fitting a model to. And what's important about this on your homework is when I go to row 8, our correlation was, I'll bring it up again, right there, 0.95. Bring back my table again. 0.95 is bigger than both these. If I'm doing alpha of 5 or alpha of 1, regardless, it's bigger than both, so I would reject a null. Rejecting a null is telling me that I have some useful correlation. There is a linear trend with my data. So if I bring this back up, if I reject, that means this model right there is what we're going to use to make predictions. So this is your regression model. This is how you would make a prediction. You would put in an x value. They would give you an x value. You're going to put it in there, multiply it by this, add the y-intercept to it, and that's going to give you your prediction. Okay. If I hit this arrow down here, it's going to show me my data points with the regression line going through them. This one's looking fairly decent. Remember the distance from here up, there down is my residual. These are the actual residuals. And things are looking good. Now, let's do this other set of data. Stat, regression, simple linear, select. I'm going to grab the second x, grab the second y. I'm not messing with anything else. Hit compute. Bring this over and expand it so we can see it a little better. Okay, what I want you to notice right now is the correlation. Correlation is about 0.34. If I bring my table back up, we still have a sample size of 8. 0.34 is not greater than either one of these. If it's less than those values, come down here again. If the absolute value of R, in this case 0.34, is greater than or equal to the critical value, you're going to reject. If it's less than, which it is in this case, you're going to fail to reject. And failing to reject is equivalent to saying we have no evidence that the correlation is not 0. So no correlation. If there's no correlation, this homework is not wanting you to actually use the model to make predictions. What you're going to have to do is use the mean of the y values. Now before I do that, let's take a quick look at it. Yeah, this line's going through, but there's not a linear trend here. Correlation is low. This model is useless, so we're not even going to mess around with it. I'm going to come back to here, and I'm going to go stat, summary stats, columns, select my second y, because this is my second y over, and get the mean. And my mean right there would be my predicted value for that set of data. What this is saying is your correlation is so low, you may as well just use the mean of the y values to estimate how y is changing with respect to x. Okay, so we'll talk about this in class.